The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 32. No one at the scene expected that Regner, who was still scolding Charlie just now, and even pressured Mr. Song to give an explanation, would change so quickly. Even Roger himself was stunned. He blurted out subconsciously and asked, "Dad, why are you so polite with such a live-in son-in-law? Don't forget, when he was outside, he called our house rubbish." Regner blurted out. "You shut up." There are some things Regner could not say in front of so many people. However, he was already roaring in his heart. "Do you know? When you are young, in your 20s, and your body is at its peak, you can sing songs every night, drink swigs every day, go to bed at 3 o'clock, start at 9 o'clock, and stay up all night, but it's not working anymore like that for him. His current state is that a typical full man does not know that a hungry man is hungry. He eats big fish and meat every day, and doesn't even understand why a person who hasn't eaten for 3 days would bend his waist for 5 buckets of rice. That's because he has never tasted the feeling of hunger. He doesn't know the feeling of being hungry that makes him flustered, swollen hair, weak limbs, and uneven breath. He will never realize the original intention of someone kneeling for a steamed bun. For Regner, although a person has not really reached old age, his body must be much worse than when he was young. He has money, status, and strength, but he has no youth. Therefore, he saw the changes of Mr. Song. It is so big, deep down in his heart, he has longed for it. Saying 500 million to buy one such magical medicine, even if it is 5 billion, he is still willing to buy it. After Roger was scolded by his father, his expression became very ugly. However, he did not dare to speak against his father again, because he knew Regner's temper. If he said more, he would most likely be beaten in public. When Roger was downcast and wanted to retreat, Regner saw that Charlie had no response to his offer, and hurriedly scolded Roger, who was about to retreat, "Why don't you get out, and apologize to Mr. Wade?" Roger's eyes were incomparably wrong, and he subconsciously said, "Dad, you let me apologize to him." Regner yelled coldly, "Yes. Come over and apologize to Mr. Wade, otherwise I can't spare you." Under the gaze of so many people, Roger was so demanded and reprimanded by his father, that he wanted to die deep in his heart. Especially Warnya is also looking at him, and her eyes seem to be a bit ridiculous and playful. This made Roger suffocate the fire. At this moment, he really couldn't help it, and blurted out, "Dad, you just kill me, I can't apologize to this kind of smelly rug." After that, he turned and walked out. Seeing this situation, Regner suddenly became angry. The biggest shortcoming of his own son is that he doesn't know how to deal in current affairs. Even if you are a billionaire, sometimes you should lower your body. You must lower. If you want to kneel down, you must kneel down. He had never seen the magic medicine of rejuvenation pill, and now he has seen it. He definitely cannot miss it. If this is missed, it would be a pity for a lifetime. In the face of such things, the dignity of the son is a bullshit. Just when he was about to stop Roger, Charlie, who had been silent for a while, smiled lightly and said, "Mr. Wu, since Mr. Wu is unhappy, don't make it difficult for others. As the saying goes, the twisted melon is not sweet, strong. The required apology is boring. After that, he stopped paying attention to Regner, and instead said to Mr. Song, "Mr. Song, rejuvenation pill can at least extend your life for more than 10 years, and it will be easy to live to be 100 years old. I hope you will have a birthday party for 100 years. At that time, don't forget to invite me." As soon as he heard this, Mr. Song was excited with tears in his eyes, knelt on the ground with a thud, and said piously, "I thank Mr. Wade for this reinvention. The kindness of Mr. Wade is unforgettable." Charlie smiled and nodded, and said faintly, "Don't just thank me, but also thank your good granddaughter Warnia. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't get to know your Song family, let alone take this precious one. The incomparable rejuvenation pill is given to you, so you must not treat her badly in the future." In a word, Warnia trembled all over. She knew in her heart that Charlie was giving herself a gift. A big gift that she can even inherit from the Song family. She looked at Charlie very gratefully, and the emotion in her heart for him was sublimated again. She even felt that Charlie's kindness to her was enough to pay it back with her life. When Honor heard this, his heart was very angry. He blamed Charlie for being nosy. Blame him for renewing his life for Mr. Song. Even blamed him for giving credit to Warnia. However, he didn't dare to show the slightest bit of resentment in his heart, and could only be murderous in his heart. At this time, Mr. Song nodded his head and said piously, "Old Song will remember Mr. Wade's instructions." After that, he leaned down again, kowtowed and thanked. Father Song knelt down twice, and Charlie had a chance to stop him, but Charlie did not do so. The reason for this is simple, because Charlie felt that he should kneel. He gave him such a good fortune, so that his lifespan has increased sharply for more than 10 years. This kind of good fortune is so great that he will kneel and knock himself twice, even if he will knock himself twice every day for the rest of his life. Ordinary people believe in gods and pray 3 times and 9 worships in front of the gods every day. Can the gods give him 10 years of life? Can't. Gods can't, but he can. Therefore, it is entirely natural to receive 2 kowtows from his old master Song. Seeing this, the children of the Song family all came forward one after another. First of all, Tianming Song, the eldest son of Mr. Song, and his 3rd and 4th brothers. The 3 brothers came to the front and immediately knelt behind Mr. Song. Tianming Song held up his arched hands and said loudly, "Thank you Mr. Wade for giving my father such an opportunity." Tianming Song, the son of Song Patriarch, thanks you Mr. Wade. After finishing speaking, one head knocked on the ground, and he couldn't afford it for a long time. His 3rd and 4th brothers also learned the same way, and they all thanked as well. Honor and Warnia also walked to the front and knelt behind them. Honor was extremely resentful, but he still shouted with a pious face, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for giving me such an opportunity." Song Honor, thanks you Mr. Wade. Warnia glanced at Charlie deeply, her eyes were quite complicated, with gratitude, admiration, and awe. Immediately, she knelt on the ground and said in a very beautiful voice, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for giving me such an opportunity." Warnia, the granddaughter of Song parents and granddaughter, Thanks you, Mr. Wade. The remaining little grandchildren and little granddaughters followed suit and knelt down and thanked him one by one. Today, it's Mr. Song's 80th birthday. Originally, he should be sitting in the main seat, accepting the worship and blessings of his descendants. And now, all the descendants of Song, from the 80-year-old man himself to the 7 or 8-year-old grandsons, all kneeling down, facing the indifferent Charlie, extremely grateful, kowtowing their bodies and heads. This scene stunned everyone on the scene. But the first family of Oris Hill. Now, everyone in this whole family kneels and kowtows to Charlie. However, no one at the scene felt that it was a shame for the whole family to bow down together. On the contrary, they are very envious in their hearts. Even so jealous. Why? Why did this great opportunity not fall on them? Regner developed a strong jealousy towards Mr. Song. If he knew this medicine was so magical, even if he grabbed it, he had to get it in his hands. It's a pity that he actually offended Charlie with eyeless eyes. Before that, he wanted to kill Charlie so that his son could better pursue Warnia. But after that, he just wanted to ask for a rejuvenation pill from Charlie. As for who the son will marry in the future, this question is no longer so important in the face of rejuvenating pill. So, he took advantage of the gap between the Song families kneeling and rushed out of the Song family villa, preparing to bring back the resentful Roger. Roger said angrily, "Dad, what are you asking me to do? Go and apologize to that waste." "Yes." Regner said sharply, "Apologize first. If apology doesn't work, then kneel down and apologize. If kneeling down and apologize doesn't work, just kowtow and apologize. In short, you must let him forgive." "Why?" Roger suddenly exploded. "Let me kowtow to him and apologize? Then you might as well kill me. Don't you see that Warnia likes him? If I knelt down and apologized to him again, then I will have no chance to pursue Warnia." Regner said coldly, "Now, what matters is not whether you can marry Warnia, but whether I can get Charlie's rejuvenation pill." Roger blurted out, "Dad, you are still young, what do you want that stuff for?" "Young?" Regner laughed at himself and blurted out, "In any case, you must first get a rejuvenation pill from Charlie. Now, nothing is more important than this." Roger's eyes were about to split. "Dad! Have you forgotten our plan? Kill Mr. Orville today, and Charlie tomorrow. Are you just for a rejuvenating pill and you are not caring about anything?" Regner glared at him and said coldly, "Why don't you know anything about strategy? If Charlie is a mountain in front of us, then we must blow him up and flatten him, but now we find it in this mountain. After the treasure, can you still blast him to pieces and flatten him?" Roger asked subconsciously, "Dad, what do you mean?" Regner's expression flashed a bit sullenly, and he said coldly, "First hollow out the treasures in the mountain, and then blow the mountain to pieces. This is the choice that a wise man will make." Hearing this, Roger smiled and blurted out, "Dad, what do you mean, get the rejuvenation pill first, and then kill Charlie?" "Yes." Regner said coldly, "Didn't Charlie just say that?" This rejuvenation pill was obtained by chance. Since he is willing to give Old Song one, it proves that he definitely has a surplus. Otherwise, if it is, whoever it is, it is impossible to give the only rejuvenation pill to outsiders. Speaking of this, Regner snorted and said resolutely, I guess Charlie has at least a few rejuvenation pills on him. If you can get it, you can protect my Wu family for 100 years. Roger hurriedly asked, then after getting the rejuvenation pill, do you still have to get rid of Mr. Orville and Charlie according to the original plan? Of course. Regner said with a gloomy expression, not only them, I will get rid of all the people who stand by Charlie in Oris Hill. Even old Song, even this nasty old master. No wonder this old thing doesn't even give me the face. It turns out that he discovered that Charlie has such a great value. Roger asked tentatively, Dad, do you want to do something with the Song family? Regner nodded and looked around to make sure that there was no one. Then he said seriously, first find a way to get the rejuvenation pill, and then kill Mr. Orville and Charlie. Then, I will give the Song family a way to survive. Let them marry Warnya to you obediently. If they still don't know how to praise you, then they can't blame me for being rude. After that, Regner said again, however, before this, you must listen to my instructions, and you must not be arrogant anymore. Roger immediately said excitedly, Dad, I listen to you. Regner nodded in satisfaction and said, Come in and ask Charlie for medicine with me. Ask for medicine? Roger asked hurriedly, how can I ask for it? Kneel. Regner said indifferently, the whole Song family knelt down, and we have to kneel too. Kneel? Kneel to Charlie. Roger immediately jumped up and said excitedly, let me kneel to him. Dad, you might as well kill me. Regner frowned and observed at him, what I just said, you should bullshit again now. Roger said with a sad face, Dad, this is kneeling. When did I kneel down to anyone other than you and Grandpa? Didn't you keep saying that men have gold under their knees? Regner sneered, when Han Xin was humiliated by his hips, if he was the same as you thought, then he wouldn't be able to be named God of War by future generations. After that, Regner asked in turn, what about kneeling if a big man can bend and stretch? Kneel first and then kill him, he is a true hero. When Roger heard this, he nodded, and said angrily, okay, I will listen to my dad. Regner patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile, being able to bend is already a huge improvement. After all, he couldn't hide his excitement and said, come, follow me in. In the banquet hall at this time, Charlie had helped Elder Song to get up. As Father Song got up, the other Song family members also stood up. Everyone's birthday gifts were also offered, so Charlie returned to his seat and let Old Master Song continue the birthday banquet. Back at the dinner table, a group of people gathered around, all around Charlie, talking all kinds of pleading words in excitement. Everyone came rushing to rejuvenate. Some people have even started to bid for 300 million, 400 million, and even 500 million all the way. Charlie said calmly, everyone, I got the rejuvenation pill by accident, but it's gone now. Someone recognized Charlie, knowing that he was Mr. Wade who led Hong Kong Master to death at the Metaphysical Conference, so they shouted, Mr. Wade, you are the supreme of Nangguang, this spring pill, surely did he refine it himself? Please show mercy and refine a batch for us old men. We are willing to offer the highest price. Charlie thought to himself, if people knew that he could regenerate the spring pill, he would not be at peace in this life, so he said lightly, even if I am the supreme master of Nangguang, there are some things that I can't do with my ability. As Charlie said, he couldn't help showing a look of regret, saying, according to my research, this rejuvenation pill is a product from a genius doctor and warlock in ancient times, and it is a pill that was refined for emperors and generals. This pill is extremely refined. Difficult, many medicines have even disappeared, and even the refining method has been lost. It is impossible to re-refining, but rest assured, if I have the ability to copy the rejuvenating pills in the future, I will definitely share it with you by then. When everyone heard this, it was worth giving up, and at the same time they hoped that Charlie can really copy the rejuvenation pill. Hearing this, Roger, who had just entered the door, heard this, and Roger hurriedly said to Regner, Dad, Charlie has no rejuvenation pills. Nothing. Regner smiled contemptuously and said confidently, I don't believe it. Roger saw his father firmly believe that Charlie must still have a rejuvenation pill, so he looked at him and blurted out and asked, Dad, are you really going to find him and beg for a rejuvenation pill? Yes. Regner nodded, and said, You will come with me later, I will apologize to him for you, you kneel down and beg for forgiveness, and then I will tell him about it. Roger's expression was a little depressed. Dad, you mean I kneel down to admit his mistake, and then you sing red face in the middle? Regner glanced at Roger sideways, and asked, Do you have an opinion? Roger was startled by the look in his father's eyes, and hurriedly waved his hand and said, No, I have no opinion. Regner nodded in satisfaction and said, I said, a man must be able to bend and stretch. If you kneel is useless, I will kneel as well. As long as I can get a rejuvenation pill, I can call him father. In this world, is there anything more important than life? Okay, Roger knew that his father had been completely hooked by the rejuvenation pill, and it was useless to say anything at this time. When the father and son were walking back, Charlie sent everyone around him away. The banquet was about to begin, but he looked around, only to find that the table he was sitting on was 2 places empty. These 2 positions were prepared for Tiankai and his granddaughters Hovia. Charlie couldn't help but wonder. Based on his understanding of Tiankai, Tiankai had a strong sense of time and kept his promises. He should not be so late. Thinking of this, Charlie took out his mobile phone and called Tiankai. Soon, the call was connected. However, it was Zhovia who answered the phone. Mr. Wade, Zhovia's voice was a bit nervous and aggrieved. Charlie hurriedly asked, Zhovia? Where's your grandfather? Why didn't you come to Mr. Song's birthday party? Zhovia sounded with an angry voice, Wade, Mr. Wade, my grandfather's hospital was smashed. He is busy cleaning up, and may not be able to come to the birthday banquet because he is afraid that it will affect everyone's mood. I didn't tell you and Mr. Song, Charlie wondered, Tiankai was famous, why would anyone not open eyes and smash his shop? So he hurriedly asked, who did it? Zhovia said, they were the 2 fathers and sons of the Wu family in Suzhou. They wanted my grandpa to go to Suzhou to treat Wu Qi in their home. My grandfather felt that Wu Qi actions were too despicable, so he didn't agree to see him. So they smashed the medical hall. Charlie looked cold. It turned out to be the Wu family father and son? A bit of anger flashed in his heart, and then quickly asked, "You and Mr. Shi are not injured, are you?" Silvia hurriedly said, "No, I was not in the store at the time. When I came back, the store had been smashed, and the Wu family had already left, but Grandpa was fine, it was just the store they smashed." Charlie heard that the two of them were not injured, so he relaxed, and said with a cold face, "Silvia, tell Tiankai, I will deal with this matter." With that, Charlie hung up the phone, a cold wave appeared on his face. Sure enough, the Wu family man and his son were arrogant, and they didn't know how to constrain when they came to Oris Hill. Why did Tiankai want to set up a clinic in Oris Hill? Didn't they stay here just because they wanted to repay his kindness? As a result, the Wu family father and son actually smashed his clinic. With this breath, he couldn't swallow anything. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Regner returned with Roger. Moreover, instead of bringing Roger back to his table, he took Roger directly and rushed to Charlie. When he came to Charlie, Regner immediately arched his hand and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, the dog had no eyes and no beads just now, and he offended you. Now I will bring him to apologize to you. I hope you will not remember the villain. Don't be familiar with him in that regard." Charlie just hung up the phone and was angry. Unexpectedly, Regner took Roger to apologize. He knew that Regner wanted to get the rejuvenate, so he made a plan and smiled calmly, "Mr. Regner, use you and your son in other words, I'm just a live-in son-in-law and a rubbish sling. Where can I be worthy of the apology of Mr. Regner? For Mr. Regner, I'm a rubbish sling. You can scold or beat whenever you want." When Regner heard this, he knew that Charlie didn't plan to just let it go. So, he immediately shouted to Roger with a calm face, "Don't you want to kneel down for Mr. Wade?" As soon as this word came out, many people turned their attention here. They questioned from the bottom of their hearts, would the Wu family really kneel down to Mr. Wade? Roger's angry scalp was numb, and his whole body was hot. What he said was also the young master of the Wu family. In Oris Hill, he was a super-rich second generation. He asked him to kneel down for a Oris Hill waste home son-in-law. If this spreads out, how will he see people in the future? As he hesitated to see, Charlie suddenly glanced at his father next to him, and Roger was shocked. He was afraid that Regner would be angry, so he could only bite his head, bent his legs and knelt on the ground angrily. "Hey! Young Mr. Roger really kneeled." There was an uproar at the scene. Roger's face was so hot that he wanted to die. Regner didn't speak after seeing him kneeling, and immediately shouted, "What are you doing in a daze? Don't apologize to Mr. Wade quickly." Roger could only say in an irritating voice, "Mr. Wade, I'm sorry, I was wrong, please forgive me." Charlie said calmly, apologizing without sincerity, "In fact, it's better not to say it. This will save everyone's time and don't waste everyone's feelings." When Regner heard this, he suddenly understood that just letting his son kneel down was not enough to impress Charlie. So he shouted angrily and said, "Don't kowtow to Mr. Wade and beg Mr. Wade for forgiveness." Roger clenched his teeth, leaned over and kowtowed, "Mr. Wade, please forgive my impulse, and I'm extremely sorry." Charlie smiled playfully and said, "Since you apologize so sincerely, then this incident has never happened. Regner finally breathed a sigh of relief and couldn't wait to blurt out, "Mr. Wade, I have something to ask for. I don't know if Mr. Wade can sell a rejuvenating pill, and would like to make $1 billion. The people present all exclaimed. It was 500 million just now, but now it has become 1 billion in the blink of an eye. Sure enough, the Wu family is rich. In the Wu family's eyes, 1,800 million may be nothing at all." Charlie smiled slightly at this time and said, "Mr. Regner, you think too much. Don't say I don't have a rejuvenation pill now. Even if I have it, it's impossible to sell it for $1 billion. Even if I sell it for $1 billion, I will never sell it to you." Having said that, Charlie snorted coldly, and said, "I am a man who bears a lot of grudges. I clearly remember that you have been clamoring for me to be responsible for the beating of Lu Guang, and you have to make me pay the price. Came to me for medicine. Do you think I am a goldfish with only 7 seconds of memory?" Hearing what Charlie said, Regner felt tight. Knowing that Charlie would not be so easy to give up, but he offered a sky-high price of 1 billion. He thought that he was looking at the face of money and would no longer take into account the contradiction just now. But what he didn't expect was that this guy didn't pay attention to the sky-high price of 1 billion at all. Once he came up, he would go through the old account with himself. If it is normal, no matter how big the business is, and encountering such a negotiating opponent, Regner will also walk away. But now, he really didn't dare to leave. Because, deep in his heart, he was completely unable to resist the temptation of rejuvenation pill, as if he had been stunned by it, so that his mind was full of it and the effects of consuming it. So he knelt down almost without hesitation, clasped his fists in his hands, and said to Charlie piously, "Mr. Wade, just now it was someone who didn't know your excellency. All colleagues in Oris Hill respect you as a true dragon on earth. Please don't be familiar with me, a common man." Regner speaks very well. In order to prevent the opponent from stepping on himself, he deliberately lifted the opponent up high. At this time, most people couldn't care more about him. However, Charlie was not just celebrating the festival with the Wu family and his son at this time, but more importantly, they actually smashed Tiankai's the clinic. With this tone, Charlie had to give it out, and he wouldn't be upset. So Charlie looked at Regner, smiled lightly, and said, "1 billion is indeed quite sincere, but Mr. Regner, your manners seem to be inferior to your son." Regner was taken aback for a moment, and instantly realized that Charlie didn't think he had knocked his head. He didn't think that kowtow was a shame, after all, it was for rejuvenation. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and bowed. After kowtow, Regner raised his head and said piously, "Mr. Wade, please give Wu a chance. As long as you are willing to sell a rejuvenating pill to Wu, Wu will immediately credit 1 billion in cash into your account." Charlie looked at him, smiled playfully, and said, "The rejuvenation pill is simple. In fact, you guessed it, I do still have the rejuvenation pill, but I keep it for myself. But since your price is right, then I can also consider selling it to you." As he said, Charlie reached into his pocket and slowly took out a small wooden box exactly the same as the one given to Mr. Song. After opening it, it was indeed a rejuvenating pill inside. After the rejuvenation pill was taken out, Charlie stood up and said to everyone present, "Everyone, rejuvenation pill is very important. I just hit a private with you, and I hope you will forgive me. I will tell you all here. This rejuvenation pill, there is indeed one more, but this one was prepared for myself, and sincerely did not intend to sell it, but President Wu was sincere and quoted a high price, so I really have to consider it carefully. Although everyone was greedy for this rejuvenation pill, they were helpless. After all, there are too few people who can come up with $1 billion in cash. It is estimated that no more than 5 people were present. Besides, who would dare to compete with Wu's family at this time? For this medicine, Regner, father and son, knelt on the ground to Charlie. If he bids at this time, he still hates him? Regner looked at this rejuvenating pill, smelling the fresh medicinal fragrance from the rejuvenating pill, and said with excitement, "Mr. Wade, as long as you are willing to sell it, $1 billion in cash will be paid immediately." Charlie smiled slightly. "Don't worry, before we talk about rejuvenating pill, there is one more thing that we haven't talked about clearly." "Also?" Regner frowned and asked, "What's the matter?" Charlie's expression gradually became gloomy, and he asked in a cold voice, "I and Tiankai are also considered to be year-end friends. You father and son smashed Tiankai's the clinic. How is this incident?" When these words came out, Old Song could not help but frown, his face was gloomy, and he blurted out, "Regner, the genius Dr. Tiankai is an expert in Oris Hill, who has saved the lives of unknown number of people, and he and the old master are also good friends. Why did you smash his hospital?" When Regner heard this, his head was as big as a fight. Unexpectedly, Tiankai and Charlie would still have a happy relationship? This is really tricky. He didn't know this relationship before. He just thought it was nothing more than a well-known old Chinese doctor. Since he couldn't beat him, he just smashed his shop and gave him a little pressure to force him to agree to see his young son. But he didn't expect to cause trouble here. However, he had to be eager to get the rejuvenate. At this time, his eyes rolled and he could only point to Roger beside him, and said indignantly, "Hey! This is my son, who is impulsive and ill-considered. I have no choice but to teach my son." Roger's facial expression twitched. He really didn't expect that he would instantly become his backer. Although he was very angry, he did not dare to show his dissatisfaction. Since he let him carry this pot, he can only grit his teeth. So, he lowered his head and said, "I'm sorry, it was my impulse to smash the shop where the genius doctor was. Please forgive me, Mr. Wade." Regner also hurriedly said to the side, "Mr. Wade can rest assured that all losses of the genius doctor will be compensated 10 times. Charlie said lightly, "There are some things that can't be solved by losing money." Regner hurriedly asked, "How does Mr. Wade want to solve it?" "Me?" Charlie looked at him and said with a smile, "My solution is very simple." With that, Charlie deliberately slowed down the rhythm a bit, and looked at Roger. With eyes facing each other, Roger was a little flustered by the fierce air in Charlie's eyes. While he was still speculating about what kind of solution Charlie would propose, Charlie suddenly shot, grabbed his right wrist, and then gently twisted. Just hearing a click, Roger's right wrist was broken directly by Charlie. "What?" Roger screamed in pain, his complexion immediately turned red, then turned pale again. "Ah, broken! My hand is broken. Charlie, you are looking for death. Charlie directly threw away his severed hand and said coldly, since you smashed Tiankai's shop, then I will abolish your hand. This is called organ exchange. Roger yelled in pain and shouted, Dad, this rubbish broke my hand. I want to kill him. I want him to die. Regner was also dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Charlie would directly act on his son, and the shot was so harsh that he would abolish one of his son's hands when he came up. However, at this moment, he was still looking forward to that rejuvenation pill in his heart. For him now, if Charlie is willing to sell him the rejuvenation pill and his son has his hand broken, he can still bear it. After he has taken the rejuvenation pill, he will find Charlie to settle the account. So, with a black face, he opened his mouth and said, Mr. Wade, my son has already paid the price for smashing the genius doctor's clinic. Now you can sell me the rejuvenating pills, right? Rejuvenation pill. Charlie took the rejuvenation pill out of the small wooden box and placed it in front of him several times. At this time, Regner looked at this rejuvenation pill, his eyes were about to shine. However, he did not expect that Charlie suddenly smiled faintly at this time, and said jokingly, compared to your billions, I still think it's better to eat. After speaking, he stretched out his hand and put the rejuvenating pill in his mouth, chewed it twice, and swallowed it directly. Regner was stunned as he watched Charlie swallow the rejuvenating pill, and suddenly became angry. Only then did he realize that Charlie was playing with him from beginning to end. He didn't mean to sell the rejuvenation pill to him, he just wanted to make father and son embarrassed in public. And he actually naively thought that the 1 billion quotation had already touched him, and he only had to apologize to him, and he would agree to sell the rejuvenating pill to himself. When he thought that he was being played so much by him, and that his son's hand had been abolished by him, Regner was so angry that he almost went away. He instantly stood up from the ground and shouted, Charlie, if I not kill you, I will not be a man. Having said that, he immediately took out his cell phone and called his bodyguard. His bodyguards are all masters, and they are all gods of war who have retreated from the army. These people usually seem to be no different from ordinary people, but any one of them is a top killer. It can be said that they are all top killers who have crawled out of the dead. But Charlie looked calm at this moment, unmoved at all. After a rejuvenation pill was in his stomach, he felt a heat wave rolling in his body. He had already taken 5 or 6 pills. Although it did not play a young role, it could improve the physical fitness a lot. So at this time, he was full of energy. But there is nowhere to go. If the Wu family's bodyguard dared to pretend to be forced, he would just clean them up in one go. However, he didn't expect that old Master Song gave a cold snort and suddenly stood up and shouted angrily, Regner. Although your Wu family is big, my Song family is not muddled. I want to see if your Wu family has it. What a mighty prestige! Dare to hurt my Song family distinguished guests in my house. Having said that, Mr. Song shouted, Come here, surround the hall for me. Who dares to move Mr. Wade with a finger today and beat him to death? Regner observed at Mr. Song, gritted his teeth and said angrily, Uncle Song, he used us father and son as monkeys and abolished one of my son's hands. You still want to protect him? Could it be that you, the Song family, is openly against my Wu family? Elder Song said coldly, Mr. Wade is Song's benefactor and recreated Song's life. If you have to fight against Mr. Wade, you are against my Song family. Good. 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 Regner gritted his teeth and said, Your Song family is amazing. Don't put my Wu family in your eyes. Do you think this is in your territory? You can ride on my family's head and shit. Mr. Song arrogantly said, Song is magnanimous and can't do things like riding on someone else's head and shit, but if someone wants to target Song's benefactor on Song's site, I'm sorry. Don't care about him. Who is it? Song is never used to his problems. Mr. Song yelled, shocking everyone present. In his lifetime, the old master himself has experienced countless waves and sands, he has seen all battles, and he has developed a kind of majesty without anger and prestige. In addition, he has just eaten rejuvenating pills and is full of breath. The anger is really shocking. Regner was also a little distressed. He came to Oris Hill with only a few bodyguards with him. Even though these bodyguards are masters, facing so many people in the Song family, there is definitely no chance of winning. After all, this is the base camp of the Song family. There are dozens of bodyguards in front of the Song family. Who knows how many people are still hiding in the secret? If you really want to fight, Regner will definitely not please. A few top bodyguards may be able to fight in and out, but he and his son are not as effective as they are, and they may be injured or even left by the Song family here. Although the Wu family is powerful, they are all located in Suzhou, and now the distant water cannot save the nearby fire. Thinking of this, Regner could only decide to avoid his edge for the time being. So, he sneered and said, Uncle Song meant to tear his face with our Wu family? Okay. In this case, I will represent the Wu family and break with the Song family. From now on, the Song and Wu families are incompatible. Seeing this, Honor on the side hurriedly stood up and blurted out, Grandpa, our Song family has been with Wu family for many years, please think twice. Honor didn't want to see that he was killed, and the two families of Song and Wu completely broke off. He also hopes to marry Warnya to the Wu family. If the two families break completely, it will never be possible. Father Song glanced at Honor and said lightly, there is nothing to think twice about, the Wu family is the first family in the south of the Yangtze River, and our Song family can't afford it. The Song family has since broken off with the Wu family. Everyone present was dumbfounded. Everyone could not imagine that a birthday banquet caused a complete break between the Wu family and the Song family. It seems that Oris Hill is about to change in the future. Regner's sullen gaze flicked across Elder Song and Charlie, and said angrily, what a Song family, what a Master Wade, Regner, remember you. Take a look. Roger, let's go. After that, Regner helped Roger and walked away. Charlie said lightly, do you think the matter is over? Regner turned his head and asked with murderous aura, what do you want? Charlie said, I abolished your son's hand, only to teach him a lesson, but you have to make compensation for smashing Tiankai's shop. After all, Charlie said undoubtedly, you will give you 10 times the compensation to Tiankai within 3 days, and will apologize to Tiankai and beg for forgiveness. Otherwise, I will take Roger's another hand. When Regner heard this, his eyes were cold and murderous. He roared with his eyesight cracking, Charlie. You are so majestic. Do you know the status of my Wu family in the south of the Yangtze River? If you provoke me, I will leave you dead without a place to bury die. Charlie sneered and said, Don't be here to talk to me, your Wu family is not even the root hair in my eyes. I advise you to get out of Oris Hill as soon as you pay for Tiankai, otherwise, you father and son two people are likely to run for your lives. Regner really didn't expect Charlie to be so crazy. He had the intention to kill Charlie now, but thinking of the old and immortal attitude of Mr. Song, he could only bear it temporarily unwillingly. However, in his heart, Charlie is already a mortal person. Only now, the time to kill him is not yet ripe. After he goes back, he will make a good plan. If it is not enough, he will draw a group of masters from the Wu family to smooth out Charlie and Song family together. Thinking of this, Regner waved his hand fiercely and blurted out, Roger, let's go. After that, he took Roger with his broken hand and left the Song family villa in embarrassment. Honor looked at Regner's leaving figure, then at Warnya and the young man who was more than 10 years younger, gritted his teeth secretly, his eyes full of unwillingness. For him, it was a heavy loss. Suddenly, this old thing of Grandpa has a lifespan of more than 10 years, and Charlie counts Warnya's great credit, and Grandpa also completely turned his face with the Wu family for Charlie. If this continues, maybe one day Grandpa will suddenly announce that Warnya will be the heir to the next generation. In that way, wouldn't he be empty out of the basket? Regner and Roger and his son left the Song's villa with incomparable resentment. Roger clutched his severed hand and said with tears, Dad! I said a long time ago not to beg the rag named Wade, you must not listen. Now my hands is broken, and you are still caught by him. Humiliated in public, we lost face. Regner said with a black face, since the Wade is looking for death, don't blame me for being impolite. Don't worry, Dad will avenge you. Roger blurted out, then we will kill Charlie tonight. No. Regner said coldly, or according to the original plan, kill Mr. Orville first. Pull out the firepower of Mr. Orville, whether it is killing Charlie or the Song family, it will be easy. Roger hurriedly asked, Dad, what are your specific plans? Regner said, heal your hands first, and we will discuss the rest in the long run. The two discussing, have already walked out of the Song family compound. Lu Guang, who had been driven out before and had been waiting here, hurriedly covered his red and swollen face and greeted them quickly. Mr. Wu, Mr. Lu Guang ran to the front, just about to ask them what happened to Charlie's waist. Did they avenge him? However, he suddenly saw Roger's face pale, his left hand grasped the shrugged right wrist, and he snorted in his heart, and couldn't help feeling that something was wrong. So Lu Guang hurriedly asked, Mr. Wu, what's wrong with your hand? Roger snorted in pain, and cursed, it's all Charlie rubbish, he dared to abandon my hand in public. I must have him dead without a place to be buried. Originally, after Roger discovered that Charlie was the man Warnya liked, he wanted to use this birthday banquet to trample Charlie on his feet, so that Warnya could recognize reality, then change his mind and choose to be with him. Unexpectedly, instead of stepping on Charlie's feet, he, together with his father, was fiercely teased by Charlie. Just now, he and his father took turns to apologize to Charlie. This is simply the second shame after Wu's stepbrother Wu Qi became a feces-swallowing beast. And he, not only makes himself face lost in full view, he also broke his wrist. After today, the entire Oris Hill will remember that his grandfather of the first family in the south of the Yangtze River was slapped in public by the nameless pawn, Charlie, and became the laughing stock of everyone. Lu Guang was shocked when he heard Roger's words. He didn't expect that Charlie's rubbish would even dare to beat Mr. Wu. So, he couldn't help but provoke Roger and said, "Mr. Wu, Charlie dares to treat you like this, you must not let him go." Regner said coldly, "Don't worry, this Charlie won't live long." With that, Regner tell Lu Guang, "Lu Guang, you are a local and you are familiar with the local area. I will give you a task." Lu Guang hurriedly said, "Mr. Wu, please give your orders." Regner said, "You first take the young master to the best orthopedic hospital and heal the young master's hand. You must not make any mistakes." Lu Guang suddenly realized that Roger's hand was interrupted by Charlie, and said quickly, "Mr. Orville, don't worry. I will take the young master to the best orthopedic hospital." When Roger heard this, he couldn't help asking, "Dad, won't you go to the hospital with me?" Regner said, "I still have a lot of things to deal with today. Now that we have broken up with the Song family, we must find another place to stay. I plan to go to Shangri-La and book a presidential suite there. By the way, visit Isaac, the owner of Shangri-La. After you finish healing your hands, you will come to Shangri-La directly to find me. Then I will tell you about my plan in detail. Go to visit Isaac." Roger said complainingly, "Dad, why do you want to visit him? Isn't he just a dog from the East Cliff Wade family? More important than my broken hand?" Regner frowned and said, "What do you know? Although the Wu family dominates in the south of the Yangtze River, compared with the Wade family of East Cliff, they are nothing more than a rich native. Wade family is the real top family. That Isaac, don't look at it as the Wade family's dog, but he is the spokesperson of the Wade family in Oris Hill, representing the face of the Wade family in Oris Hill. He must visit in person. If he can open a breakthrough from him, maybe he can borrow the relationship with the Wade family. For the Wu family, although it bears the name of the first family in the south of the Yangtze River on the bright side, and acts as a blessing in the entire south of the Yangtze River, it can be said to be different from the real top-level hidden family like the Wade family. If he can take this opportunity to catch up with the Wade family, the entire Wu family will fly into the sky." When Roger heard this, he no longer complained and nodded and said, "I know, Dad, then you go to Shangri-La first, and after I see the doctor and get a cast, I will come to you." Regner said to Roger, "Okay, you go to the hospital first, and I will notify you when I arrange it." Roger said with a look of expectation, followed Lu Guang into the car and went to the hospital to treat his severed hand. After Roger and Lu Guang left, Regner, accompanied by bodyguards and assistants, went to Shangri-La. Along the way, he was thinking angrily about how to get rid of Charlie so that he could solve his hatred, and this old master Song who didn't know the current affairs. Does he think that if he take a rejuvenating pill, he is a teenager, and can live longer than a teenager? If he dare to talk to him like Regner, then he will directly take away the Song family. Soon, the convoy stopped outside the Shangri-La Hotel. Regner asked the accompanying bodyguard to take out his most precious tea from the car, and prepare it as a gift for Isaac. His big red robe was picked from the 6 remaining mother trees in Wei Mountain. It is of great value. The annual output is only a dozen kilograms, and the price of a kilogram can even be tens of millions. Moreover, this is not something one can buy with money. Because most of the limited output of this tea every year is directly supplied to Eastcliff, the rest, which can flow into the market, doesn't even have weight of 2 kilograms. And Regner's pot of tea, which weighs a full kilogram, was only obtained after he spent a lot of money, thought about it, and used adult affection. Because Regner treats this tea as a treasure, he takes it with him wherever he goes, and occasionally wants to drink it, then quietly soaks himself a gram or 2. Deciding to come to Shangri-La Hotel, he felt that he could not meet Isaac empty-handed, so he planned to give this pot of it as a gift to gain a good impression of the other party. As soon as he entered Shangri-La, Regner stepped to the front desk and said to the lady at the front desk, "Hello, please inform Wu boss, and say that Regner from Wu's family is here to see him." Shangri-La's front desk is by no means an ordinary front desk lady. She has long known all the dignitaries in Oris Hill. She heard that it was the Wu family of Suzhou, and immediately took it seriously. She picked up the phone and called Isaac's office directly. "Mr. Isaac, Mr. Regner from the Wu family wants to see you." Isaac didn't know that Regner and Charlie had conflicts. Hearing that Regner came to visit, he did not neglect. Although he was the spokesperson of the Wade family in Oris Hill, the other party was the eldest son of the first family in Oris Hill after all. He took the initiative to visit him and respected him. So, he hurriedly said to the front desk, "Just ask Mr. Regner to come to my office." The front desk did not dare to neglect, and quickly said to Regner, "Hello, Mr. Regner, our President Isaac invites you to his office, please come with me." Regner nodded, followed the girl at the front desk, and took the President's exclusive elevator to Isaac's office. As far as Regner is concerned, he is the son of Wu's family, and staying in a hotel in Oris Hill is naturally the best. It just so happens that the best hotel in Oris Hill is Shangri-La, so coming by himself to visit Isaac and deepen the relationship is also killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Seeing Regner coming in, Isaac stood up with a smile, and took the initiative to reach out and shook Regner's hand. He greeted him, "I heard that Mr. Regner is active in Suzhou all the year round. Why did you suddenly come to Oris Hill this time?" Regner sighed and said, "Hey, it's a long story. My youngest son Wu Qi doesn't know who has offended him. Something has happened. I came this time to find a solution." Isaac nodded. Of course he had heard about Wu Qi. He even watched the video on YouTube at the beginning. So when he remembered it suddenly, he felt a little nauseous and involuntarily retched. With Isaac's retching, Regner's expression became extremely embarrassing. He didn't know why Isaac was retching. To be honest, he felt sick and uncomfortable when he thought of some clips of his younger son. Therefore, Regner could only change the subject and said, "Forget it, I came here today mainly to visit President Isaac. I won't talk about these disappointments. I brought some gifts to President. I hope you like it." After that, he immediately handed the pot of exclusive tea to Isaac. "President Isaac, this is the Dahan tea from the mother tree of Wuyi Mountain. It is my personal treasure. It is not usually available. If you like tea, you will definitely like it. Isaac naturally knew how precious the mother tree red robe is, and quickly waved his hand. How can this make the Wuyi Mountain mother tree tea less and less available in the market, and it is the collection of President Wu, how can I not love? Regner immediately said, Mr. Isaac, don't be polite. You are the spokesperson of the Wade family in Oris Hill and even in Oris Hill. We in the Wu family have always looked forward to cooperating with the Wade family. In the future, we will have to count on you to match our Wu family. When Isaac heard the words, he waved his hand and said, I'm just a servant of the Wade family, and I do everything within my scope. Mr. Regner, thank you for that. Regner said sincerely, Mr. Isaac is too humble. Seeing Regner's sincere attitude, Isaac said, since Mr. Regner is so caring, then I'm not polite to you. I have a few bottles of collector class Louis XIII here. I'll give you some bottles to taste. Regner was flattered, and hurriedly said, Oh, that's really great gift indeed, thank you Mr. Isaac. Isaac smiled slightly and said, Mr. Regner came here today, surely it's not just about bringing tea to Isaac, right? Regner nodded and said, it's true that my eldest son, and a few bodyguards and assistants may live in Oris Hill for a period of time, so I just thought that Shangri-La will make no trouble. Isaac laughed and said, Welcome. Since Mr. Regner is here, he is naturally a distinguished guest. I will ask the manager to arrange a presidential suite for you and your son. You can live as much as you like. It doesn't matter how long you stay. Regner hurriedly said gratefully, Oh, thank you so much, President Isaac. Isaac smiled indifferently, Mr. Regner doesn't need to be so polite. After speaking, he asked curiously, by the way, where is Mr. Roger, your son? Why didn't he come with you? Regner was embarrassed to say that his son had his wrist broken, so he said, he happened to have something wrong. I guess he won't come here until a while. When he comes, I will bring him to visit you. Isaac nodded and said, Otherwise, I will arrange for someone to take you back to the room to rest. When Roger comes back in the evening, we will have dinner together, and it will be my host who will pick you up. Regner was overjoyed, and said, Then we will be there Mr. Isaac. He felt that he and Isaac were just nodding acquaintances and knew each other before, but now that Isaac accepts his gift after visiting, the relationship is a step closer. And this is what Regner desires most. As the East Cliff Wade family's spokesperson in Oris Hill, Isaac is a stepping stone. As long as he can maintain a good relationship with him, he will definitely be able to take this opportunity in the future to embrace the true towering tree of Wade family. Moreover, Regner also has his own careful thinking. He felt that if the Wu family couldn't find someone who could treat Wu Qi, they could ask the Wade family to take action after they hugged Wade family's thigh. With the strength of the Wade family, with a single order, countless capable people and strangers will be behind them. And Isaac didn't think much about it. After all, it was the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. So, after he and Regner exchanged greetings for a while, they were taken to the presidential suite to rest first. After Regner took a few bodyguards into the luxurious presidential suite, he called Roger and asked him to come and have a round with him. At this time, Roger had finished plastering in the hospital. After receiving a call from Regner, he took Lu Guang to Shangri-La. Sitting in the car, Roger's expression was still very gloomy, his face full of depression. Seeing this, Lu Guang quickly said, "Mr. Wu, the doctor has ordered that you have just put on a plaster. Don't get angry, otherwise it will affect the healing of your bones and cause sequelae." Roger said angrily, "I will definitely not let go of that Charlie, I will chop off both his hands." Lu Guang was overjoyed. Roger was beaten and severed. He was the most excited one, because in this way, the Wu family would definitely not let Charlie go. The enmity engraved on his son's forehead would be avenged. However, he said with great concern, "Mr. Wu, you must take care of your health. It is never too late to take revenge." Roger sneered and said fiercely, "Wait and see, that Charlie will not be long." Coming to Shangri-La, Roger took Lu Guang straight to the presidential suite where Regner stayed. After knocking on the door, the bodyguard opened the door from the inside. Roger walked into the huge living room and said to Regner sitting on the sofa, "Dad, I'm back." Regner gave a hum, and asked with concern, "How is your hand? What did the doctor say?" Roger said with a dark face, "It's broken, the doctor put a plaster on it, I'm afraid it will take a few months to recuperate to get better." Regner nodded, and said, "You need to pay more attention recently, and don't leave any sequelae." Roger blurted out, "Dad, it doesn't matter how my hand is, you can tell us how we are going to deal with Charlie." Regner sneered and said, "If you want to kill Charlie, kill Mr. Orville first tonight." Lu Guang heard Regner say that he would kill Mr. Orville first tonight, and his heart suddenly became excited. He had long been expecting Mr. Orville to die, but he did not expect to finally get his wish now. Moreover, to kill Mr. Orville, he will not only get revenge, but the Wu family will also take advantage of the trend to hold himself in the top position. Wouldn't he be able to become the next underground emperor of Oris Hill? Thinking of this, he trembled with excitement. Roger asked on the side, "Dad, Mr. Orville has many younger brothers in Oris Hill. Is it so easy to kill him?" Regner said lightly, "You have to figure out one thing, to kill Mr. Orville, you don't have to kill all his little brothers first." "Dad, what do you mean?" Regner said coldly, "There are thousands of them, but he may not always be around him. We only need to know where he will be at a specific time, then find him there and kill him directly." Lu Guang hurriedly said, "I know. Mr. Orville's whereabouts are uncertain during the day, but he usually stays in Classic Mansion at night, because his Classic Mansion is very famous in Oris Hill, and many of his friends will go there to dine at night." Regner asked him, "How many security guards does Classic Mansion have?" Lu Guang thought for a while and said, "For the security, there should be about 10, and the rest are waiters." Regner snorted coldly, 10 security guards are not enough. My bodyguards are all masters in the army. For them 10 is nothing. After all, he looked at a burly middle-aged man headed by his 5 bodyguards and asked, "Joneses who? You have been with me for the longest time, the strongest, and the most efficient in doing things. I will let you take other people, go to Classic Mansion to kill Mr. Orville tonight, whoever blocks you, kill whoever you want, can you do it?" Joneses who immediately clasped his fists and said, "Mr. Wu, don't worry, a dozen security guards are just ants in front of us. As for that Mr. Orville, he will be killed like a dog." Regner nodded in satisfaction, then looked at Lu Guang, and said, "Lu Guang, don't you have a bloody vengeance with Orville? I now give you a chance to take revenge. You will take my person to Classic Mansion tonight. Get rid of Orville. Get rid of him, my Wu family will come out to protect you, and hold you in one hand as the new underground emperor of Oris Hill." When Lu Guang heard this, there was a deep hatred in his eyes, and his heart was already boiling. What is the purpose of making a dog for the Wu family and working hard? Isn't it just revenge and kill Orville and Charlie? Now, Regner gave him a chance to become the underground emperor of Oris Hill. How can he refuse such a good thing? Moreover, he had long heard that the Wu family's bodyguards were all retired soldiers from the army. If there are 5 such people, it is more than enough to go to Classic Mansion to kill Orville. Once Mr. Orville dies, his little brother will immediately be headless. At this time, there was Wu family backing up for themselves. It is easy to become the new underground emperor of Oris Hill. From now on, with the Wu family's relationship, it is very likely that he will reach the pinnacle of his life. At this moment, at the birthday banquet of Mr. Song, Charlie waited for the formal opening of the feast, and then offered Mr. Song a glass of wine, and he quickly went to Tiankai's clinic to see the situation. At the dinner table, Solomon White, Qin Gang, Aoxiu, Mr. Orville, Liang, and even Doris looked at him with more respect than before. The miraculous effect of rejuvenation pill is really impressive. However, everyone was quite self-aware, and no one took the initiative to mention the rejuvenation pill with him. Although Charlie still had 20 rejuvenating pills left, he was not ready to take them out as gifts. Although Solomon White, Qin Gang, and Mr. Orville are all young, they are far from reaching old age. Therefore, there is no need for them to take rejuvenation pill now. If in the future they will still follow their karma and follow him steadily, he will definitely give them one at the right time. At the dinner table, Charlie looked at Liang, who hadn't seen him for a few days, and asked him curiously, "How is Wei's Pharmaceuticals?" Liang hurriedly said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, the development of Wei's pharmaceutical is normal. I am also organizing some old traditional medicine practitioners and pharmacists of Chinese patent medicine to explore and study our ancient Chinese prescriptions, and prepare to introduce some ancient traditional medicines as well." Having said that, Liang said with some regret, "Our ancestors left so many good prescriptions. Now they are either lost or stolen by pharmaceutical companies in other countries. It is a shame, so I want to do everything. Explore the possibilities." Charlie nodded and said approvingly, "This is a good idea. The good things our ancestors left behind have been taken away by Japanese and South Korean companies. If we don't pay attention anymore, then the Chinese ancestors left behind Fang, I'm afraid it will become the bragging capital of these small neighboring countries." With that, Charlie suddenly thought of Kobayashi Pharmaceutical in Japan. Kobayashi Pharmaceutical was cheated by himself for more than 10 billion. Now is the time when his vitality is severely injured, and he also left a hidden danger for Kobayashi Pharmaceutical. Jiro, the second son of the Kobayashi family, thought that his elder brother was dead, but he couldn't think of it. Ichiro is still feeding and shoveling shit at Orville's kennel. If Kobayashi Pharmaceutical is in a state of failure, that's fine. If Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals' head rises a bit, he can take Ichiro back to pick the peaches. Thinking of this, he asked Liang, how is the situation with Kobayashi Pharmaceutical in Japan? Liang said, Kobayashi Pharmaceutical had a problem some time ago. It seems that it has lost a large amount of cash. Now it is a little bit difficult in capital turnover, but they are now thin and dead camels are bigger than horses, not to mention Kobayashi Pharmaceutical still has many best-selling drugs, it should be restored within a short period of time. Charlie snorted, already thinking about it. When Kobayashi Pharmaceutical is relieved, he will send Ichiro back to Japan and help him run Jiro for whatever he said. In that way, Kobayashi Pharmaceutical is basically his own. So he said to Liang, if there is anything happening at Kobayashi Pharmaceutical, please give me feedback in time. Okay, Mr. Wade. Liang nodded piously, and said respectfully, I will pay close attention to it. Charlie asked again, by the way, how are your father and your brother in Chenbai Mountain? Liang smiled slightly and said, the people I sent and the people from Orville took turns to observe them. I heard that Chenbai Mountain has cooled down recently and the mountain is covered by heavy snow. The two of them are in short supply and there are not enough ginseng harvesting products. This winter maybe they can only live without food and clothing. Charlie nodded and said, it doesn't matter if they lack food or clothing, as long as they can't die. Liang said immediately, Mr. Wade can rest assured, although I hate them in my heart, but after all, there is blood relationship. In any case, I will save their lives and let them dig and regret in Chenbai Mountain. At this time, the energetic elder Song, with a group of Song family children, came to toast Charlie. A group of people followed Mr. Song and called Mr. Wade well. Charlie got up slightly, picked up the wine glass, and said to Mr. Song, Mr. Song, don't have to be so polite, I respect you with this glass of wine, I wish you a better life than Nanshan. After speaking, Charlie raised his head and drank the wine, and then said, I am going to see the clinic of Tiankai, and I will retire now. Mr. Song sighed and said, oh, the clinic of the genius Dr. Tiankai was smashed. I should also go and take a look. It's just that there are so many guests on the scene, and I really can't get away. Charlie nodded and said with a smile, Mr. Song is born today, so naturally I want to share the joy with everyone. I have already called Zhovia to make sure that neither she nor Tiankai were injured. Don't worry. Mr. Song hurriedly said, Mr. Wade, let Warnya go with you. After all, Warnya picked you up. It is not convenient for you to go from here. Charlie did not refuse either, nodded and agreed, and then said to a few people present, everyone, eat and drink well, I will take a step first. Everyone got up to see each other, but seeing Charlie instructed with gestures, they sat back one after another. Charlie said to Mr. Orville when he was leaving, my father-in-law seems to be going to have a dinner in Classic Mansion tonight. If you go to Classic Mansion, please help him take care of it. If you don't, then help him with your people over there. Mr. Orville hurriedly said, Mr. Wade, don't worry, I usually stay in Classic Mansion at night. After your old master arrives, I will definitely make arrangements. Yeah. Charlie nodded and said, then you have to work so hard. Mr. Orville said hurriedly, Mr. Wade, you are polite, this is what I should do." In Charlie's eyes, Jacob, the father-in-law, was a pretty good person, and after knowing his past things, Charlie did feel that he was actually pitiful, so he instinctively wanted to take care of him a little bit more. After bidding farewell to everyone, Charlie stepped out of the Song family villa accompanied by Warnya. Warnya took Charlie all the way to the front of her car and personally opened the passenger door for Charlie. After Charlie got in the car, she got in. As soon as she got on, Warnya looked at Charlie gratefully and said sincerely, "Mr. Wade, thank you so much for today." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "You don't have to thank me. This chance of rejuvenation pill is given to your grandfather. It is enough for him to thank me." Warnya hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, I thank you not only for this, but also because of what you said to Grandpa." Warnya was very grateful to Charlie, mainly because of what Charlie said to Mr. Song. She lost her parents since she was a child. Although the material conditions in the Song family are very good, she rarely feels family affection, and she does not have the feeling of being taken care of and protected by others at all times. However, Charlie would actually speak for her just now, and even put the credit for the relations. This is to help her establish her position in the Song family. To Warnya, it seems like Charlie's moment. Protecting her in general, filled her with a warm current that she had never experienced before. It is not easy for her to live in the Song family alone. Charlie looked at her, smiled slightly, and said, "I think you are the most suitable candidate to inherit the Song family from the third generation of the Song family. As for your cousin, to be honest, it feels like a strong foreigner. If the Song family is handed over to him, it will definitely go downhill." Warnya hurriedly waved her hand, "Actually, my brother is quite good. I am not going to inherit the Song family in the future. I just hope that after my grandfather dies, I won't be swept out by them." Charlie smiled slightly and said seriously, "With me there, this kind of thing will not happen." Warnya was so grateful that she rubbed her eyes and said, "Mr. Wade, I will take you to clinic." After that, start the car and drove out of the villa. In the clinic at this time, Tian Kai was taking Silvia to clean up the medicine cabinet that was smashed by Wu's bodyguards. Seeing Charlie and Warnya stepping forward, Tian Kai hurried forward and said in surprise, "Mr. Wade, why are you here? And Miss Song, isn't your grandpa having his birthday?" Charlie smiled slightly and said, "I heard Silvia say that Wu's family had come here to make trouble, so I'll take a look at the situation on your side. Is the loss great?" Tian Kai waved his hand and smiled calmly, "It's nothing more than the loss of some medicine cabinets and medicinal materials." Charlie nodded and said, "I broke Roger's right hand as a small punishment. In addition, I told them that they must come and apologize within 3 days." When Tian Kai heard these words, he hurriedly said nervously, "Mr. Wade, you don't need to fight with the Wu family for the little things of old age. The Wu family is the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. I'm afraid they will hold grudges and intentions of revenge." Charlie said calmly, "Don't worry, if the Wu family wants to retaliate, let them come, and I will tell them with the result that Oris Hill is not Suzhou, and there is a price to pretend to be forced." Silvia looked admiringly and said, "Mr. Wade, thank you for helping me and Grandpa out of this nasty breath. The father and son surnamed Wu are really too much, so I have to teach them a lesson and make them a little in awe." Tiankai looked at Zhovia and reprimanded, "What are you talking about? How many times have I told you, don't trouble Mr. Wade, why don't you understand?" Zhovia nodded aggrievedly, not daring to say more. Charlie said at this moment, "Senior Shi, it is true that the reason why the Wu family father and son came to trouble you, to a certain extent, also has something to do with me." Tiankai, Zhovia, and Warnya were all a little surprised, and they didn't understand what Charlie meant. Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Everyone is not an outsider, so I'm telling the truth. The second son of the Wu family, Wu Qi, became like the one uploaded by YouTube because I added a psychological hint to him." Ah! All three people present were dumbfounded. No one thought that the culprit behind Wu Qi, who became a feces-swallowing beast and famous all over the country, turned out to be made so by Charlie. Zhovia subconsciously asked, "Mr. Wade, do you have any conflicts with that Wu Qi?" Charlie said calmly, "I have no contradiction with him, just simply can't bear his attitude." After speaking, Charlie said again, "This kid does not study well in college, always abuses female students, and even tries to induce Qin Gang's daughter's girlfriend to commit suicide. I could not tolerate it, so I gave him a lesson and let him do this. There is no way to abuse a girl in my life." Zhovia immediately looked at him in admiration and blurted out, "Mr. Wade, you are really my idol. I have long heard that Wu Qi is not a good thing. He has become like this." I don't know how many people clapped and cheered. It turns out that it was Mr. Wade who walked the way for the sky. Warnya on the side could not help exclaiming, "Mr. Wade, the reason why Regner is still in Oris Hill is to find the one who attacked Wu Qi. I didn't expect it to be you." Just when Warnya, Zhovia, and Tiankai were sighing about Wu Qi affairs, Charlie's old father-in-law Jacob wore a suit and happily came out from home and took a taxi to Classic Mansion. Because he was going to have a little wine in the evening, Jacob left the BMW car at home and gave the car key to Charlie so that Charlie could drive to Classic Mansion to pick him up. Jacob has no other hobbies during the recent period. He just likes to study antiques, cultural relics and calligraphy and painting, so he joined the Calligraphy and Painting Association. This dinner is also to be able to get a seat as a standing director of the association. In order to show his respect for the leaders of the association, he deliberately took the 20,000 that Charlie transferred to him, and set a bronze box in Classic Mansion. Although this is the worst box in Classic Mansion, it is much stronger than most other restaurants. When Jacob arrived at Classic Mansion, Orville was on his way. The waiter didn't know Jacob, so he directly led Jacob to the bronze box he had reserved. Seeing that the others hadn't arrived yet, Jacob was not impatient, and simply sat in his seat and patiently waited for everyone to arrive. A few minutes later, the door of the box was pushed open, and a middle-aged man of his age stepped in. After seeing Jacob, the middle-aged man walked forward, smiled and said, "Brother Wilson, you came really early, when did you arrive?" Jacob hurriedly said, "Brother Su Wen, I have been here for a while. Today, the chairman and the executive directors are honored to participate in this dinner of my group. I am really honored and excited, so I rushed over in advance and awaited your ride." The middle-aged man who came here was named Su Wen, a standing director of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. He and Jacob had a pretty good relationship in peacetime. Both of them liked to throw up some antique calligraphy and painting, so they often found things together in the antique street, and they had a lot of friendship. When he heard that Jacob wanted to compete for the position of executive director, he was the first to stand up and support Jacob. Moreover, Jacob hosted a banquet for the leaders of the association today. The reason why they agreed to come over is largely because of Su Wen's face. Seeing that Jacob was so polite, Su Wen laughed and said, "Brother Wilson, you have a heart." Jacob hurriedly made a please gesture and said, "Brother Su Wen, please sit down." Su Wen was not in a hurry to sit down. Seeing that the others hadn't come, he reminded him in a low voice, "Brother Wilson, you come to sit in this standing director's seat. I naturally have no objection, but other people in the association, not necessarily have the same opinion as mine." When Jacob heard this, he was a little worried, and asked quickly, "Brother Su Wen, you can tell me the details." Su Wen sighed and said, "The position of executive director is often missed, and it is more authoritative when he speaks it out, so it has always been a fat man. Our executive director goes out to participate in an antique program. Give an appearance fee of tens of thousands, so many people are watching this position." Speaking of this, Su Wen said again, "Let's take Sun Yuki as an example. During the recent period, I heard that he has been coping with the chairman and other executive directors, and he has given them gifts in private. According to the current situation, he will be your biggest competitor." Sun Yuki. Jacob couldn't help but frowned, and said, "That's it, a man who burns a little money and doesn't know his surname." Su Wen nodded and said, "So, it is not enough for me to support you alone. When others come, you must try to win the support of several other executive directors and even the president, so that you can be in the internal voting. You defeat Sun Yuki and become the new executive director, do you understand?" Jacob nodded hurriedly and said sincerely, "Brother Su Wen, what you said really made me inspire, thank you so much." Su Wen smiled slightly and said, "What are you being polite to me?" As he said, he glanced at the time and said, "The president and others are coming soon. Let's wait at the door of the box. It seems more sincere." Jacob nodded repeatedly, and did not dare to sit in his seat again. Together with Su Wen, he walked to the door of the box and stood still, waiting for the appearance of the leaders and directors of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. After a while, other members of the Calligraphy and Painting Association arrived one after another. A spirited old master came to the door of the box, surrounded by the people around him, as if stars arched over the moon. When Su Wen saw the old master, he immediately stepped forward and smiled and said, "President." Jacob also hurriedly followed and said respectfully, "Chairman Pei, you are here." President Pei nodded slightly, and pretended to complain, "Jacob, look at you, how did you make such a big scene? Didn't you say it, we pay attention to everything in a simple party, you are looking for a restaurant at random, and order an ordinary location of the lobby is just right, why do you need to book a box in classic mansion with extravagance?" Although he said so, he even blamed Jacob for being too grand, but it was only polite on the surface, but he didn't think like that in his heart. If Jacob really put the place where the guests had dinner in the lobby of another hotel, he would definitely turn around and leave, and would never have any contact with him in the future. Jacob hurriedly said, "Everyone who came today is a leader. With the leader here, how dare I be negligent? As he said, he laughed, and said, since everyone is here, let's get seated quickly. Chairman Pei also nodded and said, okay, everyone, sit down. At this moment, a middle-aged man who was following President Pei suddenly snorted and said, Jacob, you are in classic mansion for a dinner, and you only book a bronze box with the worst grade. It is too disrespectful for the president and other executive directors, right? Jacob saw the other party, his face suddenly became difficult to look, and said, Sun Yuki, I invited everyone to dinner, but I didn't invite you. What are you doing with you licking your face? Besides, what private room I have ordered has nothing to do with you. It is not your turn to make irresponsible remarks here. The person in front of him is his biggest competitor, Sun Yuki, competing for the position of executive director. Sun Yuki said contemptuously, you can't say that. What is the status of President Pei, and what status are these executive directors? As he said, Sun Yuki snorted and said, what is the purpose of your inviting everyone to eat today? Everyone knows well, isn't it just for the position of the executive director? However, you think you have ordered the most second bronze box. Can you let the president and the others support you? This is too insincere. This is obviously to fool everyone as if they have never seen the world before. After speaking, he looked at everyone and said with a smile on his face, the mere bronze box is really not worthy of your identity. In order to show respect to the president and the executive directors, I specially booked a golden box upstairs. Why don't we just move to my place? Hearing that Sun Yuki actually booked a golden box upstairs, everyone present was shocked. You know, in the entire Oris Hill, Classic Mansion is one of the top hotels. Even some savvy figures in the upper class of Oris Hill, who trust their relationships and spend a lot of money, can hardly be able to book a golden box. Among the people present, even President Pei, who has the highest status, had no chance to enter the golden box for dinner, and they had never even seen how luxurious it was. Now, Sun Yuki is going to entertain all the people present in the golden box, so that they have the opportunity to go in and see. This is really surprising and exciting. In comparison, Jacob's small bronze box is completely rubbish that can't make it to the table. At the thought of this, everyone felt a little disappointed in Jacob. When they look at Sun Yuki, they have an indescribable appreciation. President Pei was a little moved, but after all, he agreed to come to Jacob's dinner first, so it was not easy to make a decision directly, so he deliberately asked everyone for their opinions and said, "You have such a kind invitation, what do you mean?" Someone couldn't help saying, "President, I haven't been to the Golden Box, just take this opportunity to learn more." "Yes, President. It's also good to go in and take a few photos and post to a circle of friends." President Pei saw that everyone seemed to want to go to the Golden Box, so he smiled and said, "Since everyone thinks so, let's go and see." "Yes, let's go." Everyone agreed. Sun Yuki was overjoyed and said with a big smile, "Everyone, please come upstairs." Jacob on the side was depressed and broke. Today, he was obviously the one who invited them to dinner, who would know that this would have killed a Sun Yuki halfway through. This guy made a golden box, ran over and said a few words, and cut off the meal he had carefully prepared. It cost 20,000 to order this meal. The key is that the money spent, not only did not play any role, but because of the appearance of Sun Yuki, he was looked down upon by everyone. This made Jacob extremely annoyed. This time he really picked up a rock and hit his own foot. When everyone was about to move upstairs, Sun Yuki looked at Jacob with a smug look, and said sarcastically, "Jacob, you old rag, you must have never seen how luxurious the golden box is, or you should come here too. Sit down." Upon hearing this, Jacob felt even more embarrassed and unbearable. He blurted out angrily and retorted, "Sun Yuki, who do you say is the old pauper? Do you think I am someone who has never seen the world? I tell you, I have seen all the 10 floors of the Brilliant Club, a golden box in Classic Mansion. That's it. How can you say it from your broken mouth? It's like better than the Jade Emperor's High Heaven Palace." Sun Yuki laughed and said, "Oh, I said Jacob, you really laughed at me. You have been to the Brilliant Club because of your poor virtue? You have also been to the 10th floor that can only be enjoyed by VIP members? Would you not? Are you going to clean the house?" Hearing Sun Yuki's ridicule, everyone couldn't help laughing. Everyone has the same opinion as Sun Yuki. The bronze box of Classic Mansion can be ordered by ordinary people through gritted teeth, but the Brilliant Club is only for members. If you want to become a member, you have very high requirements. If your qualifications, abilities, and financial resources are not up to standard, you will have no chance to get in and spend money. Therefore, among the people present today, not even one has been to the 5th floor of the Brilliant Club. Even Sun Yuki himself had just made a member of the lowest level of the Brilliant Club. When Jacob said that he had been on the 10th floor, everyone naturally didn't believe it. Jacob didn't expect to tell the truth, but these people felt that he was bragging, so they said with a bit of annoyance, "My son-in-law arranged for me and some old classmates to go up. You don't believe me and I fell down." Sun Yuki laughed loudly, "I know that your son-in-law, Oris Hill's first live-in son-in-law, isn't he? I heard that he is a stinky silkworm who eats soft rice. He is not as good as you. Why does he take you to the Brilliant Club?" Jacob snorted coldly, "Believe it or not." Sun Yuki smiled and said, "If you really have this ability, why don't you invite the president to have fun in the Brilliant Club? Why do you have to book a low-grade bronze box in Classic Mansion?" After speaking, he suddenly realized, "Oh, I understand, you have not put the president and other executive directors in your eyes. Do you think that their status is worthy of sitting in bronze? The poor box don't deserve to go to the Brilliant Club at all." When Sun Yuki spoke, Jacob, who was immediately blocked, couldn't argue. This Sun Yuki is too bad and very clever. For a while, he seems to be wearing a high hat, but for a while, you can't get off the stage. Therefore, no matter how angry Jacob was at this moment, he could not find any reason to refute Sun Yuki. So, he could only say angrily, "I didn't mean that." Seeing that his combat power is so weak, Sun Yuki couldn't help wave his hand, and said, "Forget it, I don't bother to talk nonsense with you. With your patience, you also deserve to be a standing director? I really want you to be. Wouldn't it be laughable and generous in the future?" After speaking, he turned to look at President Pei and the others, immediately put on a warm smile, and said, "President, let's go." Sun Yuki set a golden box for everyone, which won the favor of many people present, and even a few standing directors who were originally in a neutral attitude gave him a kind smile. Jacob stomped his feet with anger when he saw such a scene, but he was helpless. Su Wen next to him grabbed him and whispered in his ear, "Brother Wilson, you don't have to be discouraged. The current situation is just a dispute of spirit." As he said, he leaned in and said in a low voice, "In my opinion, you can't get angry. Instead, you have to go to the golden box, perform well in front of the president and the others, and make the final fight. If you give up now, I am afraid that the position of the executive director will really fall into the hands of Sun Yuki." Jacob suddenly woke up from his dream. Yes, indeed. Even though he lost to Sun Yuki in the stage of the treat, it does not mean that the other party will be the final winner. If I really let go today in a rage, that would be the real loss of all previous achievements and all losses. So he thanked Su Wen and said, "Brother Su Wen, thank you for your reminder. I'm going to see what Sun Yuki can do." After that, he said to Sun Yuki, "Since you are so sincere, then I will go to the golden box with you to get insights." Sun Yuki snorted disdainfully, and said, "Just say you are an old wire, and you still don't admit it. If you really missed this opportunity to meet me, I think you will go back tonight and wake up several times in the middle of the night." Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.